nations versus an alliance of evil nations, just as we had them before. And then in chapter 9, Revelation chapter 9, then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven. Because in American thinking, the star is an asteroid. It hits the beaches, and everything's going to be flooded. I don't know where you get that interpretation from. Look what it says, and I challenge anybody to tell me what that means. Look what it says. Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fallen from heaven. If this star is an asteroid, then tell me what that means. To him was given the key to the bottomless pit. How is an asteroid a him? This is a living being. Why? Of course, even the image of the beast. The devil wants to set up images for himself. Even in the New Testament it says, do not worship Artemis and her image that fell from heaven. The worship of Artemis was in Turkey. It wasn't an image of a statue of Artemis, but it was a black stone that had fallen from heaven, in which people in Pergamus used to worship it, in Ephesus. So, the Bible was saying, don't do these things. So an image doesn't necessarily have to be a statue. In fact, 1.3 billion Muslims today bow towards an image, a black stone, a star, an asteroid that came from the skies in Mecca. They all bow down to it already. The Antichrist will set up such an image on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem because he wants to be worshipped in Jerusalem. Why? Most likely Mecca will be destroyed because Islamic eschatology says that the time when the judgment comes in the ends of times, Mecca will be destroyed. There will be no longer Mecca. All these holy places will be destroyed, burned. Well, where did Muhammad get these things from? And why, if Allah loved the Muslims so much, he will burn their holiest place forever on Judgment Day? How does that make any sense? Why does he want to go in Jerusalem? In fact, both rule the Temple Mount. The Antichrist will rule over the Temple Mount, and today the Muslims rule over the Temple Mount. It's not the Catholics, it's not the EU, it is the Muslims who rule over the Temple Mount. In fact, Americans want to still discuss the idea of even giving the Wailing Wall and the platform of the Wailing Wall to the Muslims, doing negotiations with the devil, giving the holy places. And no one cares about these holy places. Joseph's tomb was burned, Rachel's tomb desecrated, and the place of Christ's birth desecrated by Muslims. In fact, I wrote an article I had hoped the Jerusalem Post will publish, saying that Olmert was entertaining the idea of bringing back the exiled terrorist who desecrated the birthplace of Jesus Christ, defecated in it, urinated in it, and did burned flames all inside of it, stole all the relics, all the beautiful objects of the crosses and the golden crosses from the monks, and then buried bodies in there and all these things. As the Israelis try to defend the Christian community to bring those terrorists to justice. They exiled these terrorists, and now they're entertaining of bringing these very terrorists back. And I began to ask, I said, why do these terrorists have a right to return to that land, and I have no right as a Christian to visit the place where Jesus was born, to visit the place where Jesus walked, to visit all these holy places, and I've repented from terrorism? Only repentant terrorists are asked to be imprisoned. That's what they do all the time. Go look at the media, just Google my name, enjoy the read. As soon as I go to university, they say, if Walid Shoebat confessed to his terrorist activity, he should be imprisoned. If he put a bomb in Israel, he should be imprisoned. Who's saying this? The Muslims. But when a terrorist puts a bomb who's a Muslim, not one will say he should be imprisoned. In other words, only repentant terrorists should be imprisoned, while real terrorists are set free and brought back to that land. I'm telling you, they accuse us of living in a la-la land, when in reality the whole world lives in la-la land. We're the normal ones, and they're weird. How much time do I have? Well, what, I never asked them what time I'm supposed to quiet. Somebody has to tell me when it's time up, come here and do this 5-minute thing. Whoever it is, so I apologize. The definition of Allah in the Quran, He is Malik al-Insi wal-Jinn. He is the king of the multitudes and the demons. In fact, there is a whole chapter in the Quran that is called the chapter of the Jinn. The Jinn means the demons. He is the Lord of this world and the underworld in Islam. And the Bible clearly says who that is. Only by the Bible can I identify who the true God. Man can never find God on his own. Only if he seeks with all his heart, his soul, and his might can he find. And that's what I did. An unworthy sinner, terrorist, still unworthy. I seek God, and God showed me the truth. So I must go to the rest of the world and declare it. We must become ambassadors for Christ. They both desire the destruction of Israel. Both Antichrist wants to destroy Israel, and the Muslim world is bent on the destruction of Israel. They don't want me to say that to you. As soon as I say it, oh, he is criticizing Islam. How dare he criticize Islam? Well, everyone criticizes Christianity. Just go to any bookstore and look at the shelf. Richard Dawkins criticized Christianity. Christopher Hitchens writes, God is not great. Dare he write, Allah is not great? No. They will never do such a thing. But I will do it, because Allah is not great. They both enjoy the desecration of bodies. In fact, if you look at the New Testament, clearly it says regarding the two witnesses, their bodies will be desecrated in the streets of old Jerusalem. Look what the Palestinians do when they desecrate bodies. If I went back home in 5 minutes, my body will be desecrated the same way. It will lay in the street for days. And that's exactly what will happen to the two witnesses. Who enjoys desecrating bodies? Who enjoys hanging bodies upside down in the middle of Bethlehem Square, where Jesus was born, for the whole people to see? Exactly. Satan does it, and it happens to the two witnesses. Islam seems to fit. In fact, the Messiah himself fights Muslims. In every single part of the Bible in which Christ fights. In Joel chapter 3, he fights Lebanon and Gaza. In Isaiah chapter 63, he fights Edom, Muslim country. He comes out with his garments sprinkled with blood. In Isaiah chapter 10, verse 34, Lebanon shall fall by the mighty one. The Lebanon that converts to Islam will be destroyed by the Messiah himself. Isaiah 19, who is he coming in the clouds? He comes in the clouds. Behold, he comes in the clouds, coming to fight Egypt, a Muslim country. I am not talking about destruction of Muslim countries before the Antichrist is ushered. Because in Western thinking, the destruction of Islam comes before the ushering of the Antichrist, who comes from Europe. If that is true, why in every verse Christ is on earth fighting? He is fighting a Muslim nation. I can go on and on and on with tons of verses. Then those Muslim nations are gathered. Then they are thrown into the pit, one after the other. From the prince of Tyre, who declares, I am a god. He says, I sit in the seat of gods, yet you are a man and not a god. That's Antichrist declaring himself to be God. 2 minutes. And then he addresses, O Pharaoh, king of Egypt, O great monster who lies in the midst of his rivers. Chapter 29, addressing Antichrist, calling him the Pharaoh of Egypt, a Muslim country. Prince of Tyre, Lebanon, Muslim country.